I've been fertilising lawns and sports pitches for years, and I've learnt 5 things that you need to know about fertilising your lawn so you don't damage it. Do you know why timing your fertiliser application is so important? Do you know when to apply weed and feed products or pre-seeding products? Well, today we're going to have a look. So how often should you feed your lawn, and what are the best conditions to apply it in? So here's a look at what you need to know, and if you stay till the end, I'll show you what's inside this box to help you nail the timing of your fertilising every time. Timing your fertiliser application is critical. If you get it wrong, you can cause damage to your lawn, such as scorching. Best case scenario, if you get the timing wrong, is that you don't see the full effect of the fertiliser. You waste your time, your money and your effort. To maintain the perfect lawn, you need to know when to apply your fertiliser, and you want to do it before your lawn looks like it needs a feed. The only way to do that is to understand how the nitrogen is delivered from the fertiliser into your lawn. So in order to understand nitrogen delivery, you can look at the nitrogen delivery chart like this one over here. You can see that when the fertiliser is applied to the grass, it takes a little bit of time for that nitrogen to get soaked down into the soil and therefore access the roots. But as the time goes on, the nitrogen delivery starts to taper off. Now with a 3-month fertiliser that we sell, you'll see that taper is very slow, which gives you a big window of opportunity to apply your next fertiliser. With the 6-week application, which is what you find on your generic DIY store, you'll see the nitrogen delivery is very aggressive to start with, and it tapers off as quick as it came. This can lead to a very stop-start nutrition program, which means you have to mow your lawn regularly 3-4 times a week just to stay on top of that spurt of growth. So our core fertilisers, feels like summer and equinox, not only last for up to 3 months and deliver their nitrogen slowly, but they're also packed with nutrients that many off-the-shelf fertilisers tend to neglect, the chief one being potassium. This chart over here shows you how much our fertilisers deliver compared to some of our competition, and you can see that potassium is a really high rated ingredient from our perspective. Potassium has many benefits. It can help prevent disease in your lawn, it can help your lawn and the sward of your grass use the moisture that's available to it in a much more efficient way, which means when you get to midsummer and you don't get much rainfall, your lawn will stay greener than the neighbours. It also produces a thicker sward, so it's nicer to walk on and it's more resilient to foot traffic. So before we carry on, I want to tell you about this free lawn care calendar that we're giving away. I've pinned a link in the comments below, and that will take you to our website where you can download this free lawn care calendar, which will help you nail the timing of your fertiliser treatments throughout the entire year. Not only that, it'll tell you when to aerate, when to scarify, and how and when to cut your lawn as well. So get over to mowd.uk, that's where you'll download it from. While you're there, take a look at some of our fertilisers, all long, slow release fertilisers that will have your lawn looking perfect this year and into next. Hope you're liking the video. Give it a like, it helps us get the content out there, and if you subscribe as well, we'll be pushed into your newsfeed much more regularly so you can see our content without having to go and search for us. Right, back to the video. Weed and feed products are a very particular type of fertiliser. They rely on selective weed killers like dicamba, mecoprop and 2,4-D to go down into the soil and for the weeds to draw them up into the plant itself. Now, in order for it to do that, the soil temperatures have got to be warm enough for the weed to be actively growing. This is generally around May time, when the weeds come out of dormancy as the soil temperatures start to warm up. Turf Rise, which is our product down here, has those 3 weed killers within it, and we recommend applying this in May as part of our lawn care plan. Now, the only thing you need to be aware of with weed killers such as this is you don't overfeed your lawn with them. It's not a good idea to put more feed down just because you have weeds. So applying a weed and feed product in May time can have a really good impact on a very broad spectrum of weeds. So different weeds have different germination habits and different growth habits. So don't think that one weed killer will get rid of all the weeds in your lawn miraculously. For instance, some weeds like this are really big. It doesn't matter how much weed killer you're going to apply, you're not going to have much of an impact. Weeds like this need to be dealt with by digging them out with hand and with improving cultural practices. If you aerate and if you scarify and you cut your lawn to a good length, then you will prevent weeds like this appearing in your lawn. Some weeds, such as chickweed, do need around about a 12-degree consistent soil temperature to germinate, and you might find that sometimes you apply a selective weed killer that weeds do pop up 6, 7, 8 weeks later, because it is a short-term treatment. Just because your friend in another part of the country successfully used a selective weed killer to get rid of a particular type of weed doesn't mean it will work for yours. Weeds do grow regional resistance to certain types of weed killer as well. Assessing the right conditions to apply fertiliser in is actually really simple. The basic principles are: soil temperature is really important when you're applying fertiliser. The temperature needs to be above 10 degrees centigrade. You can tell that by using one of these soil temperature monitors, and at the minute you can see this is 12 degrees. Don't forget, soil temperature is very different to air temperature, and it depends on things like how dense your soil is, what the soil makeup is, and how much direct sun you get in this area that you're testing. Weather forecast is a really important consideration. If you've got a big lawn, you don't want to get the sprinkler out to put the right amount of water down. So try and time it when you're expecting rain. Not only is it easier for you, it's better for the environment because you're using less water, and it's cheaper because you don't have to pay the water bill. You've got to be careful to consider the ground conditions. If you're midsummer and we're in drought conditions, you don't want to apply fertiliser. The salts in the fertiliser can draw the moisture out of the sward and up from the roots, and then you will end up scorching your lawn. In the same breath, you don't want to be applying it during a frost either, mainly because the temperatures are so cold that the grass won't be growing and it won't use the nitrogen that you're putting down, and you'll simply waste your money. So the other thing you need to be mindful of is damp or wet ground. If you can put your hand on the grass and it comes up wet, that's going to cause partial dissolving of the fertiliser granule, and that again will lead to scorching on your lawn. So if you're going to apply in a slightly damp or wet grass, make sure that it rains, or at least you water it in as soon as possible. So the best conditions to apply fertiliser in is when it's dry to touch, you're expecting rain, but it's also above 8 degrees on the soil temperature. If you apply in those conditions, you're going to get the maximum benefit from your fertiliser, and you're not going to damage your lawn. So if you're turfing or seeding, that requires very particular consideration. New seeds have plenty of nitrogen to sustain them in the early stages, but they do need help with phosphorus to help the roots develop. So if you're fertilising around seeding time or laying new turf, make sure it's got high phosphorus and really low nitrogen, something like a 6, 10, 6. So if you're doing a full lawn renovation, then the time to seed is after you've scarified and after you've aerated. Reason for that is by scarifying, you're removing the thatch, which will allow those nutrients to get down to the soil nice and quickly. And by aerating, whether that's solid or hollow tine aerating, you'll be allowing that fertiliser to get down into the soil. Especially if your fertiliser of choice is something like this seaweed, then this is also a soil improver. So you want it to get down into the soil to help aerate clay soils and to help retain moisture in sandy soils. The final thing to mention is if you're laying new turf, you don't want to put the turf down and then fertilise on top, because that's just going to waste time getting the fertiliser to the root zone to work. So if you remember when we returfed this area of the lawn last year, and also at Dan's lawn, we put the topsoil down, got it nice and level, then we put pre-seed fertiliser down and laid the turf on top of it. That just means that it's going to get to work really quickly and help the roots establish from that new turf and get down into that soil bed that you've prepared. So you stayed till the end, and I promised you the solution to making sure you fertilise your lawns at exactly the right time. Well, here it is. This lawn care plan is all the fertiliser you need for an entire year, and they're seasonal fertilisers. So you start in March with our Equinox feed. You will then be followed up in May with our Weed and Feed turfise product that you saw us talking about today. Summer sees us send you the Feels Like Summer fertiliser with iron in there to really make your lawn pop, and then we finish off the year with another Equinox feed in the autumn. And we send these products to you in exactly the right amount for your garden, and we send them to you exactly when you need to put them down. So there is no confusion, you don't even have to remember. Now this fertiliser, look how much is in here. This is 100 square metres worth of fertiliser. So if you have a lawn that is 100 square metres, look how much fertiliser you get. And this is £10 a month, just a little over £10 a month. That is exceedingly good value. Not only is it good value, it's convenient, and these are the highest quality feeds that you can get on the market. We hope you enjoyed this video and you really found it useful. If you like our video, you'll see us appear in your feed more often, so there's no reason not to subscribe to us, and we'll even push you notifications when we release our next videos. Don't forget, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share this video with your friends. Show them the best time to apply fertiliser to their lawn. If you want to see what goes into a good fertiliser, then you can watch this video up here where I explain the NPK principle, or YouTube think that you want to watch this video that we've also produced. We'll see you next time.